All right. That, for those of you that follow us on a regular basis, is the new song. Had to add some Bodinis in there. That's a little rock star, cardboard rock stars. Those following me on Instagram have seen all of my plays of the week in the last week have had hashtag cardboard rock stars. Thinking that's maybe the name of our new show here is Cardboard Rock Stars.
I
Since
love
that
it.
since that song came out, I thought the song was great. Love to hear some feedback, see what you guys think about it. But anyways, we are here to talk some cardboard. Welcome in, Bo. You
Hello.
you just had a show that you were at recently. Why don't you tell everybody kind of how that went?
There's a small card show in Northwest Arkansas that's 3 or 4 times a year, and so there was one last weekend here. I went to the one in May, and then there's another one in December. But they're moving to a bigger convention center in a town south of here for next year. But it was pretty good. I mean, it was. I didn't really buy much, but it was fun. I told Chad that I'm thinking about getting a table for the December show. I believe it's a week before Christmas. $100 table fee, and I the dealers that I talked to, I was like, "Is this a good show for you?" And they all said yes, that they were all doing well. It was 80% football still, and then like I was telling Chad that I'm in Chiefs country, so there was tons and tons and tons of Chiefs stuff and Kansas City Royals stuff, but most of it was football, a lot of football. I was looking for baseball prospects and soccer. I did buy a Lamine Yamal from one guy for $10. That was a wild card numbered out of 10. It looked pretty
Nice.
cool. Yeah. It's got some little lines on the back though, so I'm probably not going to send it in for grading.
Yeah. So the show was mostly football, which is interesting because, of course, the Pokemon craze going on. A lot of the shows have Pokemon growing in. But when you look at the charts as what's growing fastest or what's growing the most right now, the two hottest things are basketball and soccer, believe it or not. Um, so the football dominating, I guess it's just that time of year with football starting. But I myself am in basketball buying season, along with I did buy a soccer card, and I've bought a hockey card recently. So a little bit of hockey and soccer, but mostly buying basketball and selling football. I've had a lot of football sales already. My rookie ticket autos that I'm getting back at a rapid pace. All of a sudden, PSA has just started flying with the orders. So 2 shows ago, which was about 4 weeks ago, I think I mentioned that I had 18 orders sitting at PSA because I send in every Wednesday. I send a bulk order in every Wednesday, sometimes multiple, but for sure at least a single bulk order every Wednesday. So PSA was 18 weeks behind. That's how far. That's how it was easy for me to track. Because I had 18 orders, which tells me it was 18 weeks. And the most recent that I had just sent in, they hadn't received yet or logged in yet. So it was really about 19 weeks. And I've gotten in the last 2 weeks since our last show, I've gotten 13, 14, 14 orders back from PSA.
That'll wreck your credit
I've
card.
got I've got boxes upon boxes upon boxes of cards sitting here on my kitchen table. My wife wants me to clear off because I got to go through them. But I will be posting. It's a good time to get them back. I will be posting all of those between now and the first week of football. I've got a little over 100 rookie ticket autos along with lots of other football stuff. But I think there's I want to say there's almost 500 cards sitting here that I've got to get posted. that recently came back. So PSA now, my oldest order sitting at PSA, and it just today moved into the grading step. I'm sorry, from grading to assembly. The oldest order I have sitting there is an order that I sent in the third week of July. So that's only 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, and it's already in assembly. So I think that PSA is about ready to probably announce that bulk orders are going to be shortened up from 65 days, I would guess, back to maybe 45 days, 55 days if they want to be conservative. But if that goes at the same rate these other ones go, I've already got, so the order that I sent in last week already got received on Monday. So I mailed it on Wednesday. It got received on Monday. This morning, they already checked it in. It's in step 2. That had been taking about 3 to 4 weeks just to get it checked in. So that tells me they're getting caught up. So that's exciting because that means that we can get back to moving a little bit faster with our plays. It's been a pretty slow, snoozy type pace where you send a card in and wait 4 months, can screw up your timing a little bit. But if we can get back to where we can send stuff in and get it back within 60 days, 2 months, that's a very acceptable method for me. 60 days gets you back on the being able to turn your money over 6 times a year. So if you want to, go with the velocity play that I talked about at the beginning of the year before PSA kind of put a kibosh on it, where you try to double your money with every submission, and you could do it 6 times a year. You could take whatever start with a $500 budget. At the end of the year, you could have a $3,000 pot, and do it, rinse and repeat, and do it over and over again. That money grows pretty quickly. So I'm hoping PSA gets back to that 60 days. It looks like they're on pace for it.
Yeah, I'm supposed to get my Cooper Flag draft night cards today. That they're on a UPS truck right now, and I'm going to the Dallas Card Show the second weekend in November, and I'm planning on taking that with me to trade night. And I'm like, should I take these to GameStop tomorrow, or should I just go ahead and mail them in to PSA the old way? I'm kind of having a hard time deciding which way I want to do that.
I had my worst submission ever in, I don't know when was, I don't even remember. My first ever submission to PSA, I think was, I want to say it was 2010, maybe 2008. I don't know, somewhere around there, about 15, 18 years ago was when I started sending stuff into PSA. I had my worst submission ever. You know what it was? Panini Instant Draft Night cards from the WNBA. I bought 10 Paige Beckers, and with the way she's going off right now and her cards are climbing, I was super excited for that submission. I was kind of actually thinking, God, I wish I'd have bought 20 of them, but I stopped buying 20 cards of stuff just because it can be profitable, but it's also a lot of work, and you can also lose money on it. That's a whole different topic for a different day. But anyways, 10 Paige Beckers, 5 Kiki Irfin, 5 Haley Van Lith, and I had 5. What
Sonia
was the other one? What's that?
Was it Sonia Citron?
No. I did Paige. I did Kiki. I did Haley, and I did.
Was it Malanga? Was it?
I can't even remember. I can't even remember now. Anyways, so it was 25 card submission. You want to take a guess out of 25 Panini Draft Night Instant cards, never touched, straight from Panini, into the protective sleeves right to PSA. Worst submission ever. I am done buying Panini Instant draft cards. Thank God Topps Now is going to be taking over. I will never buy another Panini Instant Panini Instant anything. It was always worse than Topps Now, but this one was the nail in the coffin. I'm done. You
I
want to
bought
know
50 of
how
how
out
do
of
you
25, how many PSA 10s did I get?
5.
3.
Ooh. Well, that
I
hurts,
got
doesn't it?
one out of 10 Paige Beckers. So I had 110. I had 5 9s and 4 8s.
Wow. Yeah. I
Then
bought 50 and I looked at them really closely before I sent them in. And I mailed 30 and I got 15 10s, 14 9s, and 1 8. And then I have 20 that I just didn't send at all because I've learned my lesson with just blindly sending those Panini Instants because, they don't do they're especially nowadays with the 55-45
yeah,
centering rule.
I looked them over, and to me they all looked good. I didn't see anything. I didn't see a single card that I thought wasn't gradable. I thought they were all 9s and 10s. I didn't see any 8s. Well, of a 25 card order, I ended up with 9 8s.
Oof.
9 out of 25 came back 8s. So, needless to say, I have not sold them all. I just got them back. I got them listed. I'm guesstimating that I am probably going to lose about $250 total with grading fees on that submission. So for those of you that always hear about all the wins that Dr. Crack is making, there's a big old L for you. It might be my worst play ever. Not just grading
Wow.
submission, but it might be my worst play. It might be my largest loss that I've ever taken at about $250. I can't ever remember doing a play. Even when I was starting out learning how to do this, I can't remember ever making a play losing more than $250. So it's not a huge amount of money in the big scheme of things, but it's very hurtful to my pride. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Makes me nervous when I'm, because I've got 75 of those Cooper Flag cards coming in today. Makes me nervous.
Yeah. So my Cooper Flags. So Cooper Flag Panini Instance. I only did 5 of those because I just wasn't crazy about the play, so I did 5 of those. And spoiler alert, I got 0 10s.
Is that the Topps one or the Panini one?
Panini.
Oh, wow.
The Topps one, I got 10 Topps Now ones, and those all got 10s. I was 10 for 10 with Topps Now PSA 10s. The Panini Instant, I got 0 10s out of 5 cards.
Oh, gosh.
I got 3 9s and 2 8s. I'm sorry, 3 9s and an 8 and a 7.
Oh, wow.
So that combined with my draft night WNBA plays, I'm done with Panini Instant. They can go jump off a cliff as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Everything's going to be so much different in another few months, with the Topps basketball stuff in October, right?
I'm fearful about that now, Bo, because I tried on Tuesday. Topps is doing it different now. You don't. All of the releases are going into an EQL, so
Mhm.
you have to enter this EQL for an opportunity to then be able to buy the boxes. My last 5 EQLs that I've entered, I've gotten nothing. I haven't gotten into it. It tells you every time that you enter and you lose, it increases your chances. But I don't know as I believe that, because I'm now the very first one I did, I got 2 Topps Heritage High Series hobby boxes. And now I'm 0 for 4 in my last 4.
Wow.
I tried to do the Topps Disney on Tuesday, got nothing. I'm fearful that the Topps basketball is going to be an EQL release. That's my fear.
You think they print a lot more of that, though? I mean,
I don't know what the price point is going to be. I think it's going to be pricey. I think Topps and Fanatics realizes how bad the industry is waiting for this. So it would not surprise me if they were Panini-esque and coming out at Prism type boxes where it's $700 to $800 per hobby box. That would not surprise me.
yeah.
But my plan is if I can get into the EQL, I'm buying a case, whether it's $1,000 a box or $500 a box. I don't care. I'm buying a case because I think that I think whatever they come out at, it won't matter. They will instantly go up 50 to 100% on the secondary market overnight. As soon as they sell out, it's going to be the hottest. It's going to be hotter than Pokemon, in my opinion. It's going to be insane because you've got a lot of basketball is popular, and you've got a lot of people that like collecting basketball cards. And you saw during 2021, the biggest jumps were basketball. The biggest risers were basketball. But then you've got the collector base, the old timers, kind of like you and I that were in it when kids, and now we're back in it. Topps Chrome basketball has a very special place for me. I missed it when it disappeared. I've longed for it to come back. When I heard it was coming back, it's a very special thing for me. I want to take a hobby box or two and put them on my shelf and just forget about them. Mm-hmm. Just put them and forget about them because I think that it's going to age very, very well with Fanatics growth that is happening in the hobby. I might even just take the whole case if I can get it and put it away, but it could be a very expensive case. If it's $1,000 a box and there's 20 boxes and it's 20 grand for a case, that'll be a credit card purchase.
Yeah.
In which case, I will crack the case open and then flip the hobby boxes until I have whatever remaining boxes left for free. Mm-hmm. And then those free boxes will go on the shelf, never to be opened, at least in my lifetime. That's the plan. So whether the case is $2 grand for a case or 20 grand for a case, I'm buying a case of Topps Chrome hobby basketball if I can make it into the EQL. Mm-hmm. This really scares me that I'm not going to be able to get in there because I've waited so long for it. And I know if I don't get in it and be able to buy it at the drop prices, I'm never paying the secondary market for what it does. I do plan on buying singles when they come out. I'll probably wait, 6 months to a year or whatever. I am going to collect a lot of the singles. I may even try and go old school and do a complete set like you used to do, put a hand collated set together.
Nice.
Really looking forward to this.
I feel like the rookie class is going to be pretty good. Not just Cooper Flagg. There's some other guys in there that I think are going to be solid.
Yeah, so I hope that I hope it's not. If it is an EQL, I hope it's finally my turn to get in because I desperately want some Topps Chrome basketball.
I'm at least going to buy a few boxes.
What's that?
I'm at least going to buy a few boxes. Or try to. I tried they had a fancy Marvel box about a week ago that I tried to get through EQL and I didn't get anything.
I tried that one too and I didn't get it. I tried the Disney yesterday. I didn't get it. I didn't try the Topps Chrome today because I just wasn't that into the Topps Chrome baseball. But I did try Disney. I did try the Marvel. Those are two of the recent ones I've tried and I've not gotten. But back on the PSA thought process, why don't you? I know that you got a PSA magazine.
It's back. A comic book.
Let's talk about your comic book PSA submission.
So this is a tribute to Kobe Bryant, and this is actually a homage to a famous Batman cover. So they, with the lightning bolt, they just switched out Batman with Kobe Bryant. I mailed in 3 of these and got 2 9.8s and 1 9.6. And they even had the grader's notes. Like normally with CGC, you would the grader's notes wouldn't say anything until you were like below an 8. But for the 9.6, it said small scratch on bottom of the front cover. So they even told me why it got the 9.6. The cases are really heavy. I mean, I'm thinking you probably would, if you would sell in these, you'd probably want to stick with using the priority mail boxes because it's about 4 or 5 times heavier than the CGC case. I mean, I feel like I could hit somebody with this and knock them out. I mean, it's like a weapon. I think tearing into these things would be a nightmare. If you needed to crack this sucker open, it's going to be a lot of work. Evidently, there's tariff issues with the plastic for the magazine cases, and they haven't graded anything yet. They had enough. I think the special people got magazine grading for like a week before they opened it up. Mine have been sitting there. I sent mine on the day that June 14th, I think the day that they first accepted it. But the lady, I don't remember her name, but the lady in charge of the pop culture stuff that Neo Cards and Comics interviewed, evidently she said that they are going to start grading the magazines next week. So I got 24 of those.
I did send one in just because I wanted to try it and see what it was all about. I found a PSA Michael Jordan. It was a PSA magazine with Michael Jordan on it, where I happened to be. I don't remember if it was one of 100 or one of 500. It was one of the serial numbered ones, or the numbered ones. It was a Michael Jordan one from, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago. Still in the plastic, sealed plastic from PSA because I never opened them up. I know you had mentioned that you'd press them for me. I didn't press it. I left it in the packaging from PSA. I put cardboard on it. I sent it in, and I don't know. It's not my forte.
Right.
For all I know, I'll get a 5.5 because I didn't package it right. It is what it is.
If anybody's looking for anything, yesterday they put the Slam magazine with Cooper Flag's first Dallas Mavericks cover for sale on their website. They're $12 a copy. It's a real, I mean, if you were looking for one to try that, I feel like there's going to be a million of them. You know, I bought 5.
Wow.
But it might be a good one to do if you're looking for one to give it a try.
Yeah, so I'm going to try the Michael Jordan one, see what it does. Play my, I don't know. I've been trying to find somebody that'll buy all my PSA magazines because I've got, I don't know, 4 or 5 years worth still sitting in plastic. I keep thinking I should put them on eBay and sell them, but the shipping would get so expensive because you'd have such a large, heavy box. Maybe I'll sell them season by season. I don't know. Hey, Logan, welcome in. We got Scott, David, Logan, and K-Law Collection, all in watching on the Instagram. So, so that's kind of interesting. So PSA's moving. We now got the magazines. I do want to do a tip. We didn't talk about this, but I want to do a tip of the week. I was watching a couple of different episodes. One was, I don't remember if it was Sports Card Nonsense or I don't remember where it was, but I was watching a couple of them. And more people are starting to talk about the fact that you can buy a graded card, crack it open, and sell it raw to make money. I know the show that I left, that was one of the disagreements we had based on integrity. I didn't care for that. That was one of the things that caused me to leave the last show. But so I know that they tout it, but it was on a couple of other ones that I watched. So here's a tip. A friend of mine just recently bought a card, had me send it in for grading. I did some cleaning, some doctoring on it a little bit, made it look good. I thought the thing was going to come back a PSA 9, and my buddy Jason was hoping for a 10. And I said, Jason, it's just not a 10. As good as I am doctoring it, I think I got it to a 9. And it came back a PSA 6. And I looked at it and thought, there is no possible way that this is a PSA 6. So I reached out to a friend of mine at PSA who wants to remain anonymous because they think I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But I just had him do a little bit of research on it. It turns out that it is a serial numbered card. I also had this. I had a red Joe Burrow for my good friend Logan, who is watching over on Instagram right now. We did the same thing with that, and it's a serial numbered card. They track the serial numbered cards, so if it grades a PSA 6 and it graded it back in the 1980s, whatever it was, no matter what you do to that card, the card will never grade higher than a 6 again.
Oof.
So even though the thing looks like a 9, because it was graded a 6 it had some surface scratches on it that I was able to get out with some new Kurtz Card Care stuff. Which I know is also controversial, but I'm getting pretty good at it. But anyways, so the Burrow Red from Logan that I was telling you about was a while back. Beckett is so far behind. I think I sent that in, gosh, I don't know, maybe in April. And it just finally the other day moved into the grading step. They're so far behind at Beckett, it's unbelievable. But we tried that Burrow Red. We tried it at SGC, and it came back at SGC 6, because that also came back a 6. And we learned that SGC and PSA share information, so it's a card that's serial numbered. So my tip of the week here is, if you're buying a serial numbered card off of eBay, you should check the registry at PSA, Beckett. I don't know if CGC has a registry or not. I know SGC has one. You can check that serial number and find out if it's ever been graded. So it's just a way for you. You can't do it on non-graded cards. But with more and more people starting to crack out cards that are graded and then sell them raw, because on eBay, for example, it says near mint or better, which is an 8, in raw condition. So as long as it's an 8, you're not really lying to anybody. That's their justification. There is no integrity left with those types of people. Just the tip of the week is check the registries. If it's a serial numbered card, it might save you the trouble and find out that, like in the case that with this one for Jason, it was a SGC 6. And when we tried PSA came back a 6, and it was a serial numbered card. So now that I just sent that off to Beckett, we'll see if Beckett does anything with that. Jimmy Boy is in here. Welcome in. He says, I have a Kobe Bryant PSA 1999. I'm not sure. I wonder if that's serial numbered to 1999. But anyways.
I have a serial numbered Sarah Strong Stealth Bowman First Auto, and it got a 9. And I've looked at it. I'm glad because I was planning on later today cracking out and giving it another shot, because it looks so good to me. And I'm like, dude was in a bad mood. His wife yelled at him on his way to work or something. And he gave me a 9, so I was like, I'm going to crack this out and give it another try. But
Don't do
I
it.
guess
If it's a
I
serial
shouldn't.
numbered card, don't do it. They will not grade it higher. They
Okay.
will not do it. It's on their registry. If you're going to do it, you got to try CGC or Beckett.
Yeah, I'll just keep the 9.
Yeah. So, anything else that you want to talk about before we get into some plays of the week?
I was telling you before the show that I think that we maybe in the future episodes that we ought to give a little bit of attention to some soccer plays. This other show that I'm not going to mention on
Absolutely.
Monday made the claim that it's Lamine Yamal or nothing, and that's the only way to go if you're trying to put some plays together before the World Cup. And I just strongly disagree with that.
Yeah,
And I
that's
think that
very, very narrow-minded.
yeah, I think it's kind of lazy, to be honest. I mean, do you like sports or not? Because I mean,
Yeah.
it's fun. It's fun to learn about these guys. Like that 18-year-old kid that's playing for Chelsea now. That they're saying he's the Lamine Yamal of Brazil.
Yeah.
There's a lot of. I mean, I think that it's going to be a really fun, challenging. I mean, it's not easy for sure, but I think it's worth the time. I'm trying to figure out right now. I'm just making a list of the teams that I know for sure are going to make it in. Like that Mohamed Salah guy that led the Premier League in scoring last year. He's on the Egypt team, and we don't know for not. It's not for sure if they're going to make it in or not. They probably will, but for now, I'm looking at the teams that are definitely in, and looking at maybe 2 guys on each, of the main country's teams, and just start trying to put some plays together.
Jimmy Boy here's giving us more information. It's a 96 Topps Chrome Gem Mint Kobe Bryant. Congratulations. That's a big card. Kobe is 96 Topps Chrome. That's in a mint, gem mint grade.
Wow.
Heck of a card to hang on to right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the soccer plays we're going to mix some soccer plays in, probably starting already with our next show in a couple of weeks. For those that like soccer, for those that don't, there'll be plenty of basketball and football talk, maybe a little baseball talk as well, because for timeline wise, right now, I'm looking at mostly basketball purchases. I'm open to, I made a football purchase last weekend because it was just too good to pass up, the Lamar Jackson that you saw me post on my Instagram. So I'll still buy football, baseball, but I'm looking at some soccer plays, some hockey plays, majority basketball. But we're within 30 days right now of the end of September into October is when baseball that's when you make your money on baseball. You are going to make buys from the end of September to the middle of December. That's when all of your profits in spring are going to be made. They're going to be made on the purchases that you make on baseball cards during that 60-day time period. So we will get lots of baseball this fall for you guys that want to make some money next spring. But right now we're focusing today on some basketball plays. And without further ado, let's get into this here. We're going to let me get my screen up here. All right. So right now our first card up is a Franz Wagner. I think I said that correctly for all you Germans out there. Wagner, 2021 Prism. It's the silver. This card currently in raw, $14.99. There have been 10 sales in the last 30 days, so about one every 3 days. The 30-day average is only $9, so it's starting to go up a little bit already as we're starting to creep towards basketball season. PSA 9 most recent sale was $50, so you're going to actually turn a small profit on a PSA 9, and a PSA 10 was $170. It's a 26% gem rate, but there's only 200 of these cards that have been graded at PSA. Not a super high pop card, but he is going to he's going to start getting. I'm sorry, 180. The pop count is 180 PSA 10s. There's 847 of them graded at PSA. Got ahead of myself. Sorry. But with a 26% gem rate, 1 out of 4, it's not, if you can buy these in the $10 to $15 range, I would probably be looking at buying, 2, 3, 4 of them, and maybe trying to seeing if you can't turn a profit by doing the game of multiples there. I think that'll work out real well for you, especially with $170 PSA 10. You hit one PSA 10 and it could pay for 6 mistakes that you made. So you go buy 7, you hit 110, you break even. All the rest of the 8s, 9s, 7s, whatever you got are profit. So it's a card with enough margin in it that I would do multiples of that card.
Orlando looks like they're going to be better too. So they,
yeah, Orlando looks to be improved. So we'll see what that looks like. But him and Paulo, I think, are gonna take that next step here this year. Maybe make some noise in the playoffs even. All right, next card up is Victor Wembanyama. We can't go and do this without having a Victor card. This is the Purple Shock. So there's going to be 2 Victor Wembanyama cards in the plays that we talk about today. This one is the harder of the 2 to come by. Only 3 sales in the last 30 days, so about 1 every 10 days. You're going to have to save the search in eBay, so when one pops up, you can go and buy it, because if you try and do the buy it nows, the most recent sale was $29. The 30-day average is $27. There's not a single one listed on eBay right now for under $60. So you're not going to be able to do the buy it nows. You're going to have to find an auction. But if you can find an auction and you can get it in this $30-ish window, there's lots of money to be made here. The PSA 9 most recently sold for $65. So again, small profit on a PSA 9 even after grading fees and shipping. A PSA 10 is $135, 45% gem rate. Victor Wembanyama is a player that you are going to see. I think you're going to see his cards come back really, really strong. It's hard to imagine that you could forget about Victor Wembanyama, but I think the league and everybody kind of has a little bit forgotten about Victor Wembanyama. His cards are not bringing what they, I think, should be bringing. So Victor Wembanyama is a good play right now. All right, next up, we're going to have Tyrese Halliburton. Yes, I know Tyrese Halliburton is out currently. He is going to be back. I don't think he'll be back anymore this year. You are probably going to see Halliburton maybe by playoffs. I don't know. Yeah, even if he sits out the whole year, it's okay. As you start to hear news on during his recovery and he starts shooting around and you start to see some news about him, his cards are naturally going to go up because he comes back into the spotlight. So right now is a good time to get into Tyrese Halliburton. His Silver Prism, you can buy that card raw right now. For the last sale was $13.83. The 30-day average is $16.96. So let's just say $13 to $20, somewhere in that neighborhood. The centering is pretty easy to tell on these based on the borders. A PSA 9 most recent sale was $39. So you're going to break even, maybe lose your eBay fees on a PSA 9, but a pretty low risk. PSA 10, $262. And that is pretty low for where this card got when they were on their run. So there is a very high ceiling on this card. I think that you will find this card has a lot of runway in it as he goes towards his healing and recovery. What do you think of Halliburton?
I like him. I felt sorry. I'm a big Golden State. I'm a big Oklahoma City Thunder fan. My mom's huge, and we watched all those playoffs, and I felt sorry for the guy. At the getting hurt like that at the end, but he's definitely good.
Oh, for sure. All right, we're going to go to the WNBA. There's a couple of WNBA plays in here. This one here is Cameron Brink. She's not just pretty to look at. She is a baller, setting all kinds of records for the WNBA for blocked shots and her defense. Her offense is going to come around as well, but right now she's a defensive stalwart, Dikembe Mutombo-esque with blocking shots left and right, or maybe a Wemby type. She's averaging, I think, over 2 blocks per game. Still gets a lot of hype because of who she is, where she plays. This orange ice I find to be an attractive card. I don't know what it is. I like the orange ice for most players. $9.50 is the most recent sale. 41 sales in the last 30 days, so easy to come by, more than one per day. The 30-day average is $16, so figure on $10 to $15 is where you're going to have to spend. Majority of these sales are $10 or less. You had that one spike, if you look at the graph there, that one huge spiked card, which I don't know. It seems impossible that one could sell for that much, is what's skewing the 30-day average. All the other sales are right around $10. So I think this card is very achievable at $10. And with 41 sales, it's a very easy card to go and get. The problem with this card is in the PSA 9. The PSA 9 sells for $32. So if you spend $10 and $25 on grading and shipping, you got $35 in it. You're going to net $32. Actually, you're going to net about $27 after eBay fees. So you're going to lose $5 to $7 to $8 if you get a 9. That's the risk that you take on this card. Again, pretty low risk when you're talking $7 to $10 risk if it gets a PSA 9. But a PSA 10 last sale was $77. And I think that you'll see her cards as she starts to play more and get more and more hype. I think that $77 is going to go up. But even if it doesn't, you're going to have $35 invested, $77. It's a nice double up money on a good looking card, and diversifying and not just doing all NBA, having some WNBA plays in there. I think
I recommend
adds a little bit of fun to it.
I recommend looking carefully at the back of those Prism cards. The black corner on the bottom right, that's the 10 killer. It's like 80% of them have some kind of white on that bottom corner on the back.
The bottom right and the top right have black corners, so it's very easy to get a white edge, and that can cause some lower grades. But centering is an equally big deal on these cards. I've learned the hard way with the Caitlin Clark cards. I've had a number of them that I sent in where the top and the bottom, the black on the back was absolutely flawless, and they come back 8s. And then I realized after I got a couple of 8s, I'm like, that's impossible. And I compared it to the 10s, and I thought, you dumb rookie. How long have you been doing this? Never bothered to check the centering because they're a little bit hard to tell. But once you know, you know. And centering is a big deal on the Prism WNBA cards. I think it's as big or bigger than the black corners on the back. And I learned the hard way because, even though I've been doing this a long time and I give out advice, sometimes I can be a moron too. So
I'm not going to miss trying to grade this year's Prism for anything.
It's
You know?
just the Prism, basketball, WNBA Prism, football, whatever. It's, man, their QC was not
Yeah.
great this year. It certainly made things tough for us. All right, the next basketball player up is Cade Cunningham. He is, I think you're going to see a little bit. He'll be in the top 10 for MVP voting this year, I think. I don't know if he'll make top 5, but he's going to start getting a little bit more and more run as far as MVP talk, especially if the Pistons take the next step. He is the face of Detroit. He's the star on the team, and his cards sell very, very, very well. So the card we're going to talk about is his Silver Prism. $40.50 is the most recent sale. 38 sales in the last 30 days. So again, very, very easy card to come by. Centering is a big deal here as well. The good news is these are really easy to tell centering on, so you should be able to eyeball it and have a pretty good idea of whether or not the centering is good. The 30-day average on this card is $45. So you're going to $40 to $50 is what you're going to spend for a good copy of this card. PSA 9 most recent sale was $73. So you're going to bust even, maybe lose your $5 in eBay fees when you sell it if you get a PSA 9. But again, I think all of these basketball plays are going to rise between now and the time you get the cards back. So you might be fine there as well. A PSA 10, here's the upside in this card. A PSA 10 most recently sold for $500. 20% gem rate. So 1 in 5, much harder gem rate on this card, but not impossible. Okay. PSA added, so there's 351 PSA 10s. PSA added 11 gems to this card in the last 60 days. In the last 60 days. So there's enough people sending this card in that they're still gemming. So a 20% chance to gem at this card, $40 to $50 to invest in it. This is another card when there's 38 of them available. I'm buying multiples. I'm going to look to buy 3, 4, 5, 6 of these cards, maybe 10 if I can find 10 that I think look decently centered for $50 or less. You're going to have, $750 invested with grading. All you need is one PSA 10, and then your 9s are going to take care of themselves to turn a profit. I'm with a 20% chance. I'm going to go for sure by 5. That's $200 with grading fees. I'll have $300 invested. I get 1 out of the 5 that gems. I'm netting a $200 profit, and I've still got 4 more cards to get rid of. So that's my plan on this card. Don't be surprised if you see some maybe multiple PSA 10s posted on my Instagram. I've already got 2 of this card coming that I've recently bought on eBay. So I'm eagerly anticipating this play. I did this play last year, and I got 2 out of 5 10s.
Nice.
So I've already profited from this play, going back to the well and doing it again this year. All right, next card up. Let's take a look at none other than another WNBA card. For those of you that watched my Instagram pickups of the day, you saw that I bought this card yesterday. It was my pickup of the day yesterday. I got it for $4 less than this last sale. I got it for $175. This is the Prism Silver. This is the rookie variation. I like this card better than her standard Prism card, as some people call her other card the pooping card. It's just not as appealing to me. I like this card spinning a ball on her finger. I just think it's a more pleasant, eye appealing card to me. So I like this card better than her standard card. I paid 175 yesterday. Most recent sale here was 179. 95 sales in the last 30 days. This card is easy to come by. 3 sales a day in the last 30 days. 3 sales a day. Again, very hard card to gem, but listen to these numbers. It's worth the risk. So when you're looking at this Caitlin Clark, $179 to purchase the card. A PSA 8 most recent sale was $156. So the most you're going to be out is about $30 to $40 if it gets an 8. That's a pretty low floor if you just make a catastrophic mistake and you get an 8. A 9 is $243. So a 9, you're profiting about $25 after fees and shipping. On a 10, it's $1,393. You want to grow your portfolio quick, get lucky and hit the lottery and get a PSA 10 on one of these. Now, yes, I am aware it's less than a 10% gem rate, but when you can turn a $25 profit on a 9 with only a $30 loss on an 8, with the upside of 10xing your money on a PSA 10, to me, that's worth the risk. Maybe to you it isn't. To me, it is. So I'm going to buy. I've already had 2 of these that I pack pulled and sent in. I got an 8 and a 9 on my pack pulled ones. I've already sold those. I just bought this one yesterday. I'm looking to buy more of these. I like going for the home run once in a while. And when you can hit a home run, when the risk that you're talking about is only, a $30 risk for a chance at 10xing your money, count me in, sit me at the table, deal me in, whatever you got to do. I'm in on this Caitlin Clark play. I know you like the WNBA. What do you think of this play, Bo?
I like it. It's just I get bummed out every time I get Prism stuff graded lately. I wish it wasn't such a low gem rate, but that's where the big payoff is coming in.
That's where the
because
payoff
it's
is.
so hard. Yeah.
But when you can get 8s and only lose $30 with the upside of 10xing your money, it's just a play that I had to share with everybody because it's just too good to not take a little bit of risk in your portfolio and give it a try.
I tried the iced pooper one, and I looked on eBay. I looked at like 300 or 400 of them. Just looked at no, and I found one that looked centered, and I didn't see any marks on the corners on the back. So I bought that and got a 9. I was like, oh hell! I spent like days looking at those cards, but that's part of the fun of it. You have to try to enjoy yourself while you're.
The key is to make sure that when you get a 9, you're turning a profit. So like on this one the play I just shared with you, you're turning a profit on a 9. That's what makes it fun. Is it's disappointing you didn't get the 10, but you're turning a profit on a 9, so you can reinvest that money and go try it again if you want.
Yeah.
All right, next card up. We talked with Franz Wagner first. Here is Paolo Banchero. Silver Prism. $66 is the most recent sale on this card. $68 is the 30-day average, and you're looking at 34 sales in the last 30 days. So about 1 per day. PSA 9 last sale was $73. So you're going to be out about $20 on a PSA 9. But there again, on the upside of things, a 10 is $413, and it does have a 35% gem rate. So the risk is losing $20 on a 9 for the reward of 5 or 6xing your money with a 35% gem rate on a player that is up and coming and doing very, very well. So I like that play as well. All right, I got a few more plays here for everybody. Let's take a look at the next one. The next one up is Anthony Edwards. I've got a couple of Anthony Edwards plays in here. I feel remiss if I didn't include some Anthony Edwards plays, as I think he's still one of the easiest players in the NBA to make money on. I think he is one of the faces of the NBA moving forward. I don't think it's going to be too long before he makes the NBA Finals or wins an NBA Finals, and then his cards are probably going to be untouchable. So get in, have some fun while you can. This is the Optic Holo. Many of you know I like the Holo as much as I like the silver, sometimes more because it's more affordable. I think it's an attractive card. Raw $42 is the most recent sale. The 30-day average is $45, and there's 14 sales in the last 30 days, so about one every other day. This card is often off-centered left to right, but it's really easy to tell with your naked eye. Just take a look at the borders on both sides, and you should be able to tell pretty good if the card is centered decent. PSA 9, $80, so you're breaking even on a 9. PSA 10 is $250, so a nice 4 to 5xing of your money, 31% gem rate. Pretty easy card to get and grade and make a profit on. There's going to be a couple of Anthony Edwards plays in here just because if you're into basketball and you're not buying some Anthony Edwards, what are you doing? All right, here's the second Victor Wembanyama card. I mentioned there were 2 Wembanyamas. The other one was the purple shock. This is the green shock. I picked the Optic shocks because they grade better than the Prism counterparts, so it's a little bit easier to turn a profit. You don't have as big an upside as you do in the Prisms, like the ices and the orange ices, red ices, but you have an easier, a better chance, a higher percentage chance of turning a profit on these Optic shocks than you do on the Prisms. That's why I went with the 2 Optic shocks. All right, most recent sales, $74. 30-day average is $63. Only 2 of these have sold in the last 30 days. So this is another card you're going to have to save search and eBay and look, because the buy it nows are too high. You got to buy it in an auction. But it does sell. There's 2 sales in 30 days. And if you took a look, go out 90 days, 3 sales, 9 sales so far, 9 sales in 8 months. So 1 or 2 sales a month is what you're looking at. Not an easy card to come by, but worth the risk if you can find it. PSA 10's 100 or 9 is $110, so you're showing a $10 to $15 profit on a PSA 9, and then a PSA 10 is $315, so you're going to triple your money on a PSA 10, assuming that you can find the card in gradable condition. Finding that card, I did see a few of these. I went to a sale up in Oshkosh here, about half hour from me, with my friend Logan a couple weeks ago, and I did see a couple of these raw in the cases, and they were priced in that $75, $85 range. So if you can't find them on eBay, go to a local show. You might be able to find them there. All right, next card up we're going to talk about will be, let's talk about another Anthony Edwards card. This is the Ruby Wave. Most recent sale is $60. $78 is the 30-day average. I recently bought one of these cards as well. I paid $85, so I went above the 30-day average, but I saw it in hand, and I bought it at a local card shop up in Appleton. It was worth the extra money to get one in hand, and I think the card is gemmable. But anyways, 9 sales in the last 30 days, so about one every 3 days. PSA 9 is $120. So you're almost picking up $50 on a PSA 9 if you can buy it in that $60 range. If you got to pay 80 or even 85 like I did, you're still picking up a $10, $15 profit on a PSA 9 after all fees. The PSA 10 is $363, so very good upside on a PSA 10. You're going to be able to make a good profit. And that card does have a 36% gem rate, so about 1 in 3. So you got a pretty good chance there. All right, next card up is, I think I got about 7 more cards here for you guys. Next card up is Shea. Now, I debated putting this card on here today just because the gem rate is so low again, but the upside is so high, kind of like the Caitlin Clark, I decided to do it anyways. And when you hear that this card is available, it's kind of shocking, really. The card's it's a 2018 Prism. It's a silver SGA. Most recent sales $120. The 30-day average is $155. So as you can see by the graph, it's been coming down. If you look at the 90-day, I mean, just look at that. It's heading in a sloping downward trajectory. You want to catch this before it peaks at the bottom and starts going back up. If you're going to make this play, I would make this play in the next probably 30 days because this card's going to start climbing as the season gets near, even in raw condition. But anyways, PSA 9 sells, most recent sale $194. So even if you got to pay $155 with grading, you're still breaking even on a 9. If you can get one in that $120 range, you can pick up a $30, $40 profit on a PSA 9. The PSA 10 is the reason why I put this on here. The PSA 10, although it's down considerably, it's still sitting at $1,300. It does have a 16% gem rate, so it's not a great gem rate. But the risk, again, when you can buy a card and end up getting a $30 profit on a 9 with the upside of 10xing your money, I have to talk about this card so that you guys have the opportunity to hit a home run. You get unlucky and you get a PSA 8. The PSA 8 last sold for $110. So you might be out $30 with grading fees on an 8. So much like Caitlin Clark, worst case scenario, you get an 8, you end up out $30. Best case scenario, you get a 10 and you 10x your money. Had to talk about this card. I didn't want to not give you the opportunity to make that kind of profit margin. Those are the types of plays that you might only get one a year, but it makes your year and gives you good bragging rights when you hit it. Next up, another card I debated whether or not I would put this on here. However, the Joker, Nikola Jokic, 2015 Prism base, most recent sale was $175. The 30-day average is $178. There are 13 sales in the last 30 days, so about one every other day. I made this play twice last year. I got 1-9, 1-10. So it is very possible to go get yourself a 2015 card and still gem it because I did it last year. I will probably make this play again here in the next few weeks if I can find a nice copy of it. The PSA 9 sells for $282, so you're picking up $100 on a 9. A PSA 8 last sold for $180, so you're only out your grading fees. You're out $20 if it gets an 8. You're picking up $100 if it gets a 9, and it's $733 if it gets a 10. So 4xing your money, and it has a 30% gem rate. So it's actually not a bad gem rate for a card that is 10 years old. And having already gemmed this card once in the last year, I'm telling you, it is a very feasible thing to do. Don't be intimidated by the year. Look at the card and buy the quality of the card. All right, we're back to WNBA. I told you I had a couple of WNBA players. This here is Sabrina Ionescu. It's her 2020 Silver Prism rookie card. This card escapes me. I have never owned this card in any condition, raw or otherwise. I've owned the non-silver. I want this card. I'm going to get this card by the end of the year. I'm owning this card. I've been looking for a good copy of this card. I really like Sabrina. I like what she stands for. I like her as a player. I like her on the field, off the field. I just really like Sabrina. Overall, I want this for my PC. So this is going to be a PC play for me. Raw last sale was $56. 4 sales in the last 30 days. $60 is the 30-day average. So you should be able to get a decent copy somewhere in that $60, $70 range, $50 to $70 range. But it does not sell very often. 4 sales in the last 30 days, about 1 a week. PSA 9 is $108. So you're turning a nice little $25 profit after all fees on a 9. And a PSA 10 is $285. This card only has a 16% gem rate. So this is a card that if I can find this card for a decent price in a 10, I will remove the risk of trying to grade it, and I will just buy it in a PSA 10 because I want it for my personal collection. But if I can't, I plan on buying this card raw and taking my chances because I can make 25 or 30 bucks on a 9. So I will do that. So if any of you watching have a very nice raw Sabrina that you're looking to sell a silver, let me know, reach out to me. Or if you've got a good deal on a PSA 10, let me know. I'll buy it from you. All right. Next up, I have Jalen Williams. Silver Prism, $22. Most recent sale, $29 is the 30-day average. So 20 to 30 bucks is what you can spend. 10 of these in the last 30 days, so about 1 every 3 days. The PSA 9 sale, last sale was $49.50. So it's about a wash on a PSA 9. The PSA 10 is $203, and it does have a 48% gem rate. So you can 4x your money, and that's a card
Had some luck with that card.
That's kind of a sleeper card. That's my sleeper play of the week. People are kind of sleeping on him a little bit. To be able to buy a silver prism of that guy for $22 or even $30, I think that's a really inexpensive way to get yourself a nice quality card.
I've graded 5 of them and 3 for 5 on 10s on that.
Well, 50% gem rate. So that means your next one's a 9. So might want to stop at 3 out of 5. But anyways, no, yeah, you can, if you can eyeball them and beat, and the object is always to try and beat the average, right? If it's 50% gem rate, if you can get 60% gem rate, you feel like you're doing pretty good. All right. This is one of my favorite plays of the week. This is the 2018 Optic Shock SGA. $37 is the most recent sale. $46 is the 30-day average. There's 22 sales in the last 30 days, so about 1 per day. You can see how this card is jumping around. This card centering is a big deal. Print lines are a big deal. but you can usually see that in a picture. But this is a card that I really like. So in a PSA 9, it's $73. So you're going to be able to profit 10 to 15 bucks on a PSA 9, which is why I like to play so much. I love it when you can make money on 9s. It just takes a lot of stress out of worrying about those PSA 10s. And then a PSA 10 is $176, and it does have a 30% gem rate. Because this card transacts so often, almost one a day, I plan on making several of these plays over the next coming weeks. For the record, I plan on making at least one of every play that I am telling everybody about today. So I don't just I put my money where my mouth is, guys. These are not only free plays that you don't have to subscribe to our channel to get. They're plays that I've been doing and making, and where some guys will tell you that you can spend a few $100 to make money by following them or listening to their plays, and then you find out that they're halfway through the year they've made $4,000 or $5,000 themselves. My profits for the year through 7 months are over 20 grand. And I'm sharing this information for free. So that's not a chest thump. That's just a reality. These plays work. 2017 Prism Mosaic. I love the 17 and 18 Prism Mosaic cards. I loved Prism Mosaic before Mosaic became a brand. I don't know what it is. I love collecting them. I try to collect all of the good players that had one. I have a Tatum Prism Mosaic. Just really like the looks of these cards. They're way cheaper than the silver counterparts, and I think they're attractive in hand. $39 is the most recent sale. $37 is the 30-day average. So if you set out thinking you're going to spend $40, so you should be able to get one for $40. And then you should be able to turn this play into some cash. So let me see here. I've got my notes here. All right. PSA 9, $65. PSA 10, $260. 47% gem rate on a card from 2017. Again, so let's take a look. If we go out 180 days and we see where Tatum got hurt, maybe go out 365 days. So you can kind of see, I guess 180 days was better. You can kind of see where he was trending, and then he got hurt. And you see these sales after he got hurt. You got one that blipped up, and now they're back down again. Just like I said before with Halliburton, you want to buy this guy before he starts getting in the news that he's on track, ahead of schedule, that surgery went well, that he's starting to practice again. As soon as he gets into the news, guys, that's when you're going to start to see his prices go up. So whether you want to buy these cards already graded or take and have some fun and do the raw to grade, some of these players that are injured right now coming back, Damian Lillard, Tatum, Halliburton, right now is the time to go out and buy these guys if you want to make some profits on them. Just because there's a lot of money that's sitting on the table right now, because those guys are all going to be in the market hot and heavy again when they come back. They're all stars. They're perennial superstars. They're not going anywhere. Their cards are going to come back. You can buy with confidence on that play. All right. Another Caitlin Clark card. This card also has eluded me. I've wanted this card, and I have not been able to come up with this card yet. This card, the reason I want this card is because of the gem rate on it. So raw $46, 30-day average $73. The card doesn't sell very often. 3 in the last 30 days, so one about every week and a half or every 10 days. The people that have them listed as buy it nows are all $100 or more, so you can't buy it as a buy it now. You got to buy it as an auction, so you got to mark it, save it in eBay as a save search, and when one comes up in an auction, then you got to go for it. But $46 is the most recent sale. 73 the most is the 30-day average. So even if you use the 30-day average of $73, you add your grading fees, you're at about $95. The last PSA 9 sold for $96, so you're a wash on a PSA 9. The PSA 10 sells for $250, so you don't get that huge PSA 10 bump that you do on a lot of other Caitlin Clark cards, but it's still a nice 4 to 5x of your money. But it's got a 69% gem rate. I was digging through gem rates. I could not find another Caitlin Clark card that had a higher gem rate than this card. There might be one out there. I didn't see it. So this is a card that I'm really trying to go after. This card's only been graded 86 times at PSA. So it's not even like, that this card is just easy to come by and everybody's trying to get it graded. This card is truly almost short printed because there's only 86 graded so far at PSA. But 60 of them have gotten 10s. I really want this card. This is a card. I've actually got one auction listing that ends tonight, not on eBay. So I don't have to worry about you guys going after it with me. It's on an obscure website that I buy from once in a while that maybe I'll share with you sometime. But I make some good buys on it. So, all right, let's finish up. We have one last card here to share. And then there's one other thing I want to go over and share with you guys. But all right, Jalen Brunson, Red Ice. We've talked about his hollow in the past. We've talked about his silver in the past. Here's a Red Ice variation. $21 is the most recent sale. $24 is the 30-day average. So $20 to $25 is what you're going to expect to spend. Again, only 3 sales in the last 30 days. Not a huge amount of these cards being sold. But $45 is a PSA 9. So you're going to lose $5 to $10 if you get a 9, but $225 on a 10. And it does have a 30% gem rate. So a decent gem rate for an older Prism card. And you're, again, 4 to 5xing your money on a PSA 10. So I thought that was a fun card to talk about. Before I get into the last thing I want to cover here today, Bo, you got anything? I've been talking an awful lot. You want to hop in? Anything you want to cover? Anything you want to talk about that I just went over?
I thought your tips were great today. I've been trying to land some Lauren Betts autos over the past few weeks just because with the college basketball season starting up in November, I just feel like she's going to be the number 1 pick in the next draft. So I got one of those McDonald's All-American ones a couple days ago, and I love that it's actually on card. Those are really cool.
I missed out on a McDonald's refractor auto of hers on Sunday night on Fanatics Collect. And when I missed out on it, I went back and looked at what they were going for, and I went, no, why didn't I go more? I thought it sounded like I did it on a whim. I had researched all the other cards. I came across it right at the end of the auction. Thought, holy crap, how did I miss this one? That looks cheap. I'm going to bid. And then I'm like, I'm just going to call it. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. I didn't get it. And then I realized that it went for like $60 less than what they had been going for on eBay. I left money on the table. I could have had one. It was a refractor. And it was a PSA 10. So
I've also, on Saturday, I'm going to take photos at the Arkansas Razorback football game. I haven't photographed a college football game in over 20 years, but I've been just trying to keep up with the team because the University of Arkansas is probably going to be using some of my photos, and they got Taylon Green, the quarterback, who was at Boise. His Bowman First is a Boise State card, which I think it was 23. But I don't think there are any autographs out of the except for the Sapphire in the Boise State. But he's supposed to be the second fastest quarterback in the NCAA. Period.
Really?
Yeah, like they were saying, just like track star speed. They were kind of comparing him to Kaepernick on TV this morning. So I'm going to be at that game, so I'm going to try to get some shots of him. But I bought a couple refractor autos last night. They were like $20, you know. So
yeah,
but
not a lot of risk there.
Right.
All right, I've got one more way for you guys to make money. This is also, I guess it's kind of a tip. I'm going to show you something. I've talked about it. It's probably been a year or two since I've talked about it, so I thought I'd bring it back. Don't know if Bo's ever seen this or not, so this might be new for Bo. But I just wanted to show you guys another way to be able to make money on cards, okay? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up Market Movers. There's been a lot of talk recently about the resurgence of 80s and 90s superstar cards, right? I saw Neo did an article on this today, actually. So I'm kind of playing second fiddle to him. He beat me to the punch on this, but I'm going to show you. He talked about the statistics. I'm going to show you how to make money. So a little bit different. But go check out Neo Cards and Comics if you guys are looking for some good watching. I follow him. I watch him every day. He does a daily video where I do a bi-weekly video. I teach you how to make money. He talks about the market. You're not going to learn how to make money following him, but just really good information. Good guy, very down to earth. But anyways, he was talking about, and a lot of, I've heard Jeff Wilson, Teapot, just a lot of sports card nonsense guys were talking about this. Gio was talking about it, about how there's this resurgence and all of these 80s and 90s superstar cards are way up. They didn't spike overnight. They've happened over time. They're just gradually growing. So they're growing. It's a healthy growth. But one of the ones that they talked about was the fact that so I'm just going to type this in. 1989 Upper Deck. Helps if I can spell correctly, right? You got to get the I out of there. There we go. Upper Deck Griffey card number 1. All right. Now, just coming across on the screen, okay? Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. So what I want to show you guys is how to make money on this card. So I'm going to show you a couple of things. First of all, let's take a look at the raw. So we're going to take a look at this graph, and we're going to look at the last 365 days. The last 365 days, you can see some slow, steady growth on this card. The raw is up 63%. Okay? Does that make sense? You got to remember these numbers because I'm going to be covering a lot of things here for you. PSA 9, the last 365 days, it's up 38%. So raw is up 69 or 67%. PSA 9 is up 38%. PSA 8 is up 38%. So the 8 and the 9 are both around that 38% mark, right? PSA 7. PSA 7 is up 69%. So PSA 7 is very similar to the raw. All right, I want to get this gone. So we're going to go the PSA 10. I guess this is an easier way to do it. The PSA 10 you can see is up 63%. Does this smaller chart work okay? Does it still showing okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so PSA 10 up 63%. PSA 9, 38%. PSA 8.5, 25%. PSA 8, 38%. PSA 7.5, 92%. PSA 7, 69%. PSA 6, 75%. PSA 5, 65%. All right. So I think I've done enough here to get my point across. What can you conclude from seeing all these graphs? Do you know, Bo? Do you know where I'm going with this?
I'm
if you
not
don't,
100%
that's
sure.
okay. That's okay. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I just thought I'd ask. So, all right. So typically the first two cards to typically go up when you're watching a card that's a hot card. Like every Griffey is an iconic card, right? This card it's for people that want to try and flip short term, for people that want to hold long term, people that put them in their PCs. Griffey's iconic. So the fact that over the last year, the PSA 10 has grown at 69%, and the Raw has grown at 69%, and the PSA 7 has grown at 69%, and the 6 and the 5 and the 4 have all grown at 69 to 75%, right? What you see is when you put these on a graph, everything follows the leader. So when you take a PSA 10 and it starts to climb, it brings high tide raises all boats, I think is one of the things that Jeff Wilson always says. All the cards go up at approximately the same rate at every grade level. So when you see a card like this that's at 70% or 65% or whatever the case may be, and you see a PSA 8 and a PSA 9 that are only at 35% growth over the same time, can you not conclude that the 8 and the 9 are going to catch up to all of the other grades? Typically, what I'm telling you is yes. This is a way that we made money years and years and years ago before market movers ever came about. We used to get out our Beckett magazines, right? And we'd watch and we'd see, oh, this card jumped up, but oh, look at this. The 9 hasn't caught up yet. And you'd go out and you'd buy a bunch of 9s. What this is doing this is showing you that you can go and find a PSA 9 at a price point. You can get, oops, I went too far there, didn't I? All right, so you go a 9. So the 9 is only up 38%. It's at $253. If this card is so this card started out at about $170. So if you just do some simple math, and I got to grab my calculator here. So you take $170 and you take it times 170%, which is up 70%. This card should be a $290 card right now. So now let's take a look at the last 30 days. There was one sale there that hit 270, 268. But look at this card jumping around, 224, 260, 243, 261, 253. This card is actually down 5% in the last 30 days. What I'm telling you is if you want, not just on this card, you can do this to any card that there is. When cards go up in value, all other grades will follow the same trajectory. this, I think I last talked about this when Ellie De La Cruz exploded 2 years ago, and his 10s jumped to like $1,500 overnight. And I was telling everybody, buy the 9s, buy the 9s, buy the 9s. The 9s, the 10s exploded at like a 1,500% growth rate. The 9s were at like a 60% growth rate. I was preaching, buy the 9s, buy the 9s, buy the 9s. You were buying 9s at that point for 30, 40, $50. Well, what happened is within a 2-week period of time, guess what? The 9s were selling for $350, $400. They had the same exact growth rate, but they were slower to react. Typically, the 10 is typically the card that reacts the quickest, or is the first card to react because it's the most desirable card. In the example of the Michael Jordan, the 86 Fleer, it's actually the PSA 8 card right now that is leading and blazing the trail. The 8, because it's the highest grade, most affordable card that you can find. So so when you look at this with the 86 Fleer Jordan, the 8 over the last 365 days is up 54%. But when you go to the 9, it's only up 30%, and the 10 is up 16%. But then you go down to the 7. The 7's at 24%. The 6 is at 42%. So the 6 is closer to that 50% mark like the 8 is. The 5, if I'm not mistaken, I think is closer to that 50%. Oh, it's 32%. So on the Jordan cards, when you see that card that's leading the way at a 56% growth, anything that's down around that 20 to 25% growth mark, you can make money on that by buying it at that 25% mark, expecting it to get to the 50% mark. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's just something I wanted to share with the viewers. I haven't shared it in a couple of years. It's another way that I make money on these cards when I'm buying already graded cards. Everybody will tell you flipping graded cards has gotten much more difficult in the last few years. So raw to grade is the way that you can make your most money. But I'm telling you, if you want to buy graded cards, look for the cards with the spikes and then look for the other grades. Maybe it's a BGS 9.5, maybe it's a BGS 9, maybe it's an SGC 9.5. You can look at the other grading companies because they all, when you put them all on the market mover spreadsheet, they will all eventually have the same curve. Every card has the same curve within a 10% range. So if like the Griffey went up 70%, you can expect every other card to be 55 to 60% or higher. If you got a card that's in that 35% range, it's underpriced. It's gonna catch up. Mm-hmm. This video, we can go back and look at this in a month or 2 or 3, and we can go back and look at this PSA 9 and see whether or not I was right. So we can cross-check Dr. Crack and make sure that I'm not on crack. That what I'm telling you is correct. But you can. Time history has told us this is a factual thing. It works over and over and over again. So I just wanted to bring another way for you guys to make money flipping sports cards and bringing all the value I can during one of these shows. We can't be cardboard rock stars if we don't give them all the information.
Right on.
So you got anything else that you want to cover today?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
All right, we'll play a little Cardboard Rock Stars as the outro, and thanks everybody for watching. We'll catch you in a couple of weeks.
It's